check your time, don't know how to feel, but I'm not sorry. I'm lost in your eyes, are you even real? But don't you worry, I'm not looking for the one. No, I just wanna have some fun. So let's get drunk tonight, 'cause fuck how we feel. But for now, I won't give it all away, 'cause I don't think I'll stay. No, I can't be the only one who doesn't wanna fall in love. Doesn't wanna fall in love. Doesn't wanna fall in love. May not see eye to eye, but we can be chill for just this moment. So turn out the lights and let's make a deal to just enjoy it. I'm not thinking about forever. I won't care if we don't end up together. Let's get high tonight, 'cause fuck how we feel.
Hi. Hello. Let's get the hair right because it's okay. Okay. I am here. How is everybody doing? Let me know if you can hear me. Let me just check my sound real quick to make sure I am heard. Okay, perfect. All right. How's everybody doing? It's been a minute. I know. But first of all, if you're new to my channel, my name is Francella. I am playing the new card to the very end, y'all. Like, don't come for me. Don't ask any questions. I am still new. Don't come for me. Don't ask any questions. I am still a new Seattle-based flight attendant. Let's get the intro right. Okay. So if you're new here, my name is Francella. I am a new Seattle-based flight attendant working with a major US airline company. And on this channel, I share my journey to becoming a flight attendant, being a flight attendant, and then my travel experiences and explorations. Okay. We haven't been doing a lot of those, but we're eventually going to get there. But in today's video, I did want to celebrate my 1 year anniversary of being a flight attendant, y'all. It has been 1 year. It has been 1 year. Oh my God, I can't believe it. One thing I will say is time do fly by fast. And I know when you do decide to become a flight attendant, people always tell you once you're able to get past your first year, you should be good. And it is true. It is true. But I can't believe it's been 1 year. Let's celebrate for a second. Let's celebrate for a second. It has been 1 whole year. Please, as you make your way into the live, let me know if you can hear me, if you can see me, and then also if my sound is good. I do have a little bit of background music playing a bit because I want to, spice things up a bit. But if it's too loud, please let me know because I will not hesitate to shut it down, okay? And this little thing that you see on me, it's my window. I need the sunlight. It's just a vibe here right now. So as you make your way in, say hi to everybody. I know it's impromptu. You didn't plan it. You didn't expect me to pop on your screen right now, but I am here. And it's been a year. And I'm here to answer some questions, y'all. So the agenda for today would be me just celebrating being a flight attendant for 1 year. I do plan on actually recording a full video where I talk about my experience over the 1 year period, from training to getting on the line to my schedule, flying, adjusting to flying, everything. I did it when I hit my 6 months, but I'm going to do another one for 1 year. The other video that you should keep an eye out for also is the fact that my income, the pay that I've earned over the year, because I've had so many people ask me questions about how much they can potentially make in their first year of flying, because I know there's a lot of content about how flight attendants are broke, especially the first year or even years and beyond. And I do try and just give a fair perspective to the topic or the issue to just allow people to actually see everything from my experience, okay? And the company that I work for. So keep an eye out for a video like that as well. But In today's video, okay. Okay. All right. So I was just looking at the live. I think it might be a spam, but if you make your way into the live, please just drop a comment, say hello, say hi to everybody. But yes, so that threw me off for a second. But yes, in today's video, I will be answering some of your questions that I've had on my videos, because I try to type and respond to all of them, but sometimes some questions are very loaded and require like a whole paragraph. And sometimes as a content creator, I'm not in the mood to write a whole paragraph. Okay. No hard feelings, no foul play here, no negative intent here. But sometimes we're on the go. And being a content creator that's also a flight attendant that's actually working as a flight attendant, I might not always have the time to do that. So that's why I try to create content around those things as well. So let's jump right into it. First of all, as I said in the beginning, it's been 1 year, y'all. I have been flying for 1 year. I actually hit my 1 year March 13th. So March 13th, 2024 was when I hit my 1 year, because March 13th, 2023 was when I went for training. That was my very first day of training. One thing to note is that your 1 year anniversary includes the period that you spent during training as well. However, if I'm looking at when ever since I've been on the line, I was on the line at the end of April. So that would be the actual 1 year of me flying. But being an employee with this airline company, it's been a year. March 13th was a 1 year. And the first thing that I would want to say with regards to that is that, and I know I've said this in my past videos, where, don't mind me if I'm looking down, y'all, my screen is down here, so that's why. But I've said this in the past in one of my videos where I told you all that most of the time, whenever I would work with a company, like 2 months in, like literally while I'm in training to start the job with the company, I know I'm not going to last here. Or a month or two in, I know like I need to start looking for a job elsewhere. Like literally, there have been moments where I got a job, I started 1 month in, I was already like on the web online looking for another job, or updating my CV so I can look for another job. But this has not been the case with this job. And it might sound a little bit cliche, or so too good to be true. But what I will say is that I enjoy it. Like I thoroughly, okay, this is weird stuff is happening, y'all. Forgive me. Weird stuff is happening. But I thoroughly enjoy this job. Like I enjoy it, not necessarily because of the work that I do, but because of the benefits of doing it, like the flexibility I get with my schedule. That is a very, very big deal for me. Like this month, for example, and for the month of March, I was working 2 trips a week. So I would do a 2 day trip, get 1 day off, work another 2 day trip, then get 2 days off. And I did that for 3 weeks. However, for the last week of March, I didn't really feel like going to work, y'all. Like I just did not feel like going to work. And I dropped the trip that I had that week, and I actually worked one of it, and I had one more left, and I dropped it because I just did not feel like going to work. See, the power and the ability to do that. And that gave me 6 days off at the end of the month. So it's one of those things where that level of flexibility, y'all, like if I'm not happy about anything at all, that alone is a game changer for me. Having some power over my schedule, knowing that if I have 3 trips, I can drop it to 1. I can pick up more trips. Like it's just been so good, y'all. And I will say officially that even upon starting this, going for training, as stressful as training was, I have not even considered quitting or doing something else. Like not even a second, y'all. There have been some difficult moments, but it's not to the point where I'm like, you know what, I'm out, get somebody else to do it. Not today, not today, you know? That's not been happening at all. So I am definitely very grateful. Once again, if you're making your way into the live, we're celebrating my 1 year anniversary of being a flight attendant. And then also say hi, drop a comment in the comment section below. Don't stalk us, okay? We're here to connect. If you do have any flight attendant questions also, please feel free to drop in the comment section below. This is the time for you to get me and ask me all the questions that you want answered, okay? And let me know in the comment section below as well. Like the video and subscribe if you have not subscribed. Don't be here taking the content for free, okay? Support small content creators. So that's how it's been. It's been so good. Training was a lot. Being away and being stuck in a hotel room for 42 days straight, eating out the whole time was definitely a lot. But I feel like it's just part of my story now, and it's been good. I am enjoying this, and I know they say 1 year, first year is hard, income wise, monetary wise. I did not have to commute. The base that I got assigned, I lived at that base. So right out of training, I went home and just started work like any other person that would go to work every single day or whenever they had work to go to. But one thing I will say is personally, I did not have any financial issues because, as I mentioned this in my live where I talk about saving money before you go for flight attendant training, I had a good amount of savings that sustained me for the 4, 5, 6 months that I needed that sustenance for. So I was set up, my foundation was set up real good. So I didn't really struggle in terms of starting off in the negative. However, that's not the case for everybody. That's why I discussed the fact that you need to save in that live video. So do check that out. It's the one before this one. But overall, financially, also, it's been okay. I make enough to pay my bills, to sustain me, and I'm good to go and to save where I can. So it's been good. I'm now getting to the point where now that I'm after a year, I can now think of saving more, saving a lot more to just build up or stack up more. So it's been great overall. If you do have any questions, please let me know. But it's been good. It's been really good. I have enjoyed it. So it's been great. But yes, let's get into what I wanted to talk about in addition to celebrating today. But all right, so the first thing that I want to talk about, the second thing that I do want to discuss in today's live is just answering a few questions that I've had in my videos, y'all. So one of the first point that I believe somebody posted or commented on one of my videos was hotel layovers. Are hotel layovers paid for by the airline? And that's a yes, y'all. Yes. So when you're working, whatever hotel layovers that you have within your rotation or your trip, your airline pays for it. They book it ahead of time and they pay for it. It's none of your business. The only business that's part of when it comes to you is the fact that you showing up and sleeping in that hotel, y'all. So keep that in mind. Everything is already set up by the airline, unless maybe something goes wrong and it's an impromptu change where you have to go to like a certain hotel that was not previously booked for you guys, then it becomes more complicated. But in general, like in the reality is that whatever hotel you do have to sleep in, the airline covers is paid for by them as well. You don't pay out of pocket for your layovers when you're working as a flight attendant. But that does not include you commuting. So if you commute and you end up staying at a hotel before you go for your trip, that cost is on you. The layover that I'm talking about, the hotel layover that I'm talking about has to do with when you're working a 3-day trip and you have to spend 2 nights outside of your home because you're working a 2-day trip or a 3-day trip, the airline pays for that. The other question that I had was, are crash pads the same as hotel layovers? For whatever reason, the person that watched my video got it confused where they thought me talking about crash pad has some correlation with our hotel layovers, but they do not. So crash pads are a different thing. Hotel layovers for you working a rotation is also a different thing as well. So keep that in mind. So when you're working, you get your hotel layovers. When we're working, our airline do not keep us in crash pads. No, crash pads has to do with commuters. So if you don't live at base and you fly into work, that's when some people would get crash pads so that they have some sort of accommodation where they work out of. So I know people that actually have crash pads where they stay in the crash pad whenever they don't have any work. So let's say they come back and they can't make it for their commuting flight, which is their flight back home, then they just stay in the crash pad. So it's more so like you're in and out. It's a point where you go in and out of work from, but not necessarily live there. Some people do live in their crash pad full-time too. So it depends. Everybody's different, but crash pads are different from the layovers that we have when we're working. The third thing too that they brought up was a question that was asked was if bilingual flight attendants do get extra pay or get paid more. So your hourly pay is fixed. The hourly pay is fixed for everybody. So if you're year one and your hourly pay is $33.81, right now I've passed year one. So my hourly pay for my first year after being there for 1 year is $35.85. When I first started at year zero, for the first year, it was $33.81. Yeah. So after my 1 year anniversary, it went up to 35.85. So when you're bilingual, you get that hourly pay that all of us get, plus an additional premium pay. So I think, I'm not sure, don't quote me, y'all. It's like a few dollars. I think it's like $2 and some change or $3 and some change. So you get that on top of your hourly pay. So if you and I work a trip and you're a bilingual flight attendant, if I'm making $35.85, you're potentially going to be making $39. You get an additional you get an additional like $2 or $3. I think that's what that is. So you've been making close to 39, whereas I'm making 36, almost 36. So that's how that works. So your hourly pay is still fixed. You just get an additional $2 and some change or $3 and some change in addition to your hourly pay. Once again, if you're making your way into the live, like the video, and then also leave a comment. Say hi. Don't stalk us. I see a few of you watching the video. Nobody is dropping a comment in the comment section below. What's going on? Don't be shy. I don't bite. Moving on. The other question that I got, or comment that I got, was hours that we work per day. So that's kind of like, and that's a reason why I could not respond in the comment section, because I feel like it's a convoluted answer, in the sense that we do have duty periods. So that's the maximum amount of hours that we can be on duty for. And when it comes to the hours worked, it's kind of different, because I might be on duty for 14 hours, but the amount of flight time that I'm actually working, which is me being on the plane and actually working, will probably be 8 hours or 9 hours, even though I've been on duty for 14 hours. Okay. So that's why it's tricky when somebody asks you, how many hours can you work per day? I'm trying to figure out what exactly do you want? My actual work hours, or when I'm on duty for? So for the purpose of just easy understanding, I'm going to focus on the duty period, because that's like the umbrella of everything. So the duty period for us with my airline, because it differs from airline to airline, is 15 hours in a minute. After 15 hours in a minute, you can opt to stay to work, or you can opt and just request for rest or whatever, opt out of work. So that's how that is. It's 15 hours in a minute. So whatever your schedule is going to be for that day, it should not go beyond that. Even if it does, there's another layer to that, but that's more so an exception to the norm. So our duty period is 15 hours. However, when it comes to the hours you work per day, it honestly depends on your rotation. So I've had 3-day trips where on the first day, I was actually working like 8-hour. The flights that I work in terms of hours totaled up to like 8.5 hours, almost 9 hours, which means I was working flights that added up to about that amount of hours. However, that does not include any sits at the airport that I have, which is me at the airport waiting for the next flight, or the time I report and boarding time for all those flights. Like those hours, it's not included in those things, because my flight time was 8 hours, but in between me doing all those other things, that's like an additional 2 or 3 hours, especially if your sit is short. But if your sit is long, then it's going to be more. Your duty would be long, even though you did not work a lot of flights per se. So it's kind of tricky. And I know I've said a lot, but if you're new, this will sound like a lot, but our schedule, once again, is convoluted and it's just a lot. But one thing I will say is that in general, for my airline, our duty period is 15 hours in a minute. So anything beyond that, it's an exception. Their process and due process for that as well. I hope that answers your question though. But that's why if you notice that I didn't really respond to the comment, it's because the question you asked was a bit broad and I just didn't have the time to type a whole paragraph, y'all. Once again, if you're making your way to the live, my name is Priscilla. I am a new Seattle-based flight attendant working with a major U.S. airline company. I have been with this airline for just a year now. I hit my 1-year anniversary, like literally a week or two ago, March 13th, 2024. And I'm just answering a few questions or comments that I've gotten on my questions. But if you are coming in now and you do have any questions, please go ahead and drop it in the comment section below. All right, so moving on, the fifth comment was, how often we get paid. So we get paid with my airline because it's different from every airline. And I heard that this changed quite recently, even with my airline, is that we get paid every 2 weeks. And there's a difference between getting paid bi-weekly and getting paid twice a month. So twice a month is that there's specific 2 dates in every month, and then on those dates you get paid. For us, it's every 2 weeks. Every 2 weeks, regardless of what the day or the date is. Every 2 weeks and Fridays, okay? So that's how we get paid. We're not paid monthly. We're not salaried employees or anything. We are, with my airline, hourly employees. So if you work more hours, you make more money, essentially. That's what that means. We're not salaried where you have like a fixed pay that you're expected to make every month, regardless of how much flying you do. So if you fly less, you get that amount. If you fly more, you get more, or you still get the same amount. I don't know how that works with that, but we get paid every 2 weeks. That's the pay period for us. Yeah. And then the other thing that I do want to talk about is somebody asked me if we can request to work with certain crew members. I know you can specifically pick up trips that has like friends or people you know on them. And I do know that in our system, there is something that they call like buddy bidding or buddy system or buddy bid or something like that. I can't remember. But all I remember from training was that we were asked not to bid for that, because even though it says you're bidding to work trips to work with your friends, it doesn't necessarily always work out the way it should, or because maybe I'm too junior to hold those trips, so it might mess up your schedule when you're asking for trips or whatever. But I've heard that there's something like that. How true it is, I'm not really sure. I'm not really certain. Or how effective, I mean, it is, I'm not really sure because I've never tried it. But one thing I do know is that if you don't like working with people, you can avoid them. Some airlines actually have like a no-fly list that you can put people on, so you don't get scheduled with them unless you're on reserve. And in that case, that's beyond your control. You can't really control it that much because you're on reserve. So anything happens, you can just get pulled to work a trip, and that might have somebody that you did not want to work with. But yes, I know there are some flight attendants or some crew members that do have a no-fly list that allows you to pick and choose who you don't want to work with. And or you can just avoid the people you don't want to work with. People create a list, and then if they want to work with you, you're not on that list. If they don't want to work with you, you're on that list. And if they see a trip and you're on that trip, then they jump out of that trip. So it is what it is. Everybody's different. And honestly, I understand why people would do that, because you're literally stuck with this person in the tube for hours. Like even with domestic trips, like within the United States, there are flights that I've worked that have been over 6 hours, like from Orlando to Seattle, for example, that has been blocked for like 6 hours and 21 minutes or whatever. And it's a long time to be stuck in the aircraft with somebody that you don't like or you don't care for or you don't want to work with. So, and with the way this job is, the altitude changes and the changes in the exposure you're getting and stuff like that, you would want to be in an environment where you are mentally okay, you're good, you're enjoying what you're doing. You don't want any additional stress. So if you don't feel comfortable being on the plane, or you don't want to work with somebody because of whatever the reason may be, you can actually avoid them. And lastly, this is going to be a short live, y'all. So if you're just jumping in, I'm just sharing, celebrating my 1 year anniversary. Yes, your girl has been a flight attendant for 1 year. 1 year, it's been good, it's been great. And I'm talking about a few comments that I've had on my videos that I've not been able to respond to immediately. But if you're making your way into the live, go ahead and drop a question. If you have any questions for me, drop it in the comment section below, or just say hi to everybody. Don't be shy. Don't come here and stalk us. Don't be shy. All right, so the last thing that I did want to talk about with regards to the comments was getting assigned a base where you live. And I think this is a really big issue because most people, and I think this adds to the negative experience that some people do have when they do become flight attendants. The first thing is this issue, which is the fact that they assume that they're going to be assigned a base where they live. I was lucky, y'all. I was lucky to be living in Seattle, have Seattle be a base that my airline has, and have it be open and available for me to get assigned to it. So my situation is like an exception to the norm. Although now it's getting better. A lot more people are getting assigned bases where they live at, but it's not because they chose it and they got it. There's a whole system in place when it comes to getting assigned your base when you're becoming a flight attendant, especially for the first time. So don't assume that because I was able to get Seattle and I lived in Seattle, so that's how it's going to be for you. Honestly, when I was going through the process and I started watching other people's YouTube videos, I was actually really worried. I was like, oh my God, what if I go through all this process and I get assigned New York and I live in Seattle and I'm not ready to move? What do I do? Because I wasn't really particularly interested in commuting, at least for the first year. So I was lucky, I was lucky, and things are getting better now. In the past, it wasn't like that. It was actually hard to get to be assigned a base where you already live. Like, it was hard. And you will see a lot of videos about people sharing that experience, that a lot of them having to commute, making it harder because you're paying for your rent where you live, you're paying for other expenses where you're going to be commuting to. It's stressful. You're not able to meal prep, then you're eating out, you're spending more money. So it's its own additional stress. But when you're starting, assume you're not going to get assigned a base where you live at. Let's put it that way. Set your expectations low. That way, if it goes otherwise, you can enjoy it. And then if it does happen that it doesn't go the way you wanted, then you're not super disappointed, because there are a lot of people that wanted to quit or even ended up quitting because they had a commute, because they thought they were going to be assigned the base where they live at. And that's not always going to be the case, y'all. So set your expectations very, very low. Set it low. There's a whole process for the base assignment process. And there are people that waited it out, winged it, worked it out, and then eventually now they're with the airline and they've been assigned a base which is closer to where they live or where they actually live. So it's not the end all be all if you get something that you don't want. However, because it's not permanent, it's not forever. However, just know that it won't be the way you want it, or it won't always go the way you want it. I do have a comment here. Nat says, I graduate from training tomorrow. My base is New York and I'm moving there Sunday. Oh, I've tuned in ever since I got my CJO. It's been helpful. And once I can touch my schedule tomorrow, I'm using your tips. No problem. Congratulations, Nat. Oh, I'm so happy you made it to graduation day, because it's not easy, y'all. There's so many people that get to training and never make it out. Like, or even if they do, they don't graduate, y'all. So I'm so happy for you. Congratulations, Nat. Like, it's a big deal. And I know when we say it's a big deal, people think we're being dramatic, but going for training is not easy, y'all. Like, you're committing your life. You're not getting paid regular pay. You're not getting compensated the way you should to sustain your life. And to go through that experience and the stress that comes with it and to be able to graduate is a big deal. So congratulations to you, Nat. Like, it is a big deal. You should be super proud of yourself and have fun at training. At that graduation reception, eat well, drink well. I was in a hurry to leave because I was over training by week 5, y'all. I was ready to go by week 5. By week 5, I was like, give me my certificate, give me my wings, and let's go. Like, I was done. But enjoy the graduation ceremony. Have fun. It's your day to shine. Look your best. Make sure you're 100% crisp and well dressed and looking good. Enjoy. Take a lot of photos as well. And if you can record the moment or have somebody record you, do it. I got somebody to record me while I was getting pinned or winked in this case, and then also collected my certificate so they can have that memory. But it's a big deal. Congratulations. Because Nat, do answer me though, were you part of the 7-week training or was yours 6 weeks? Because I know they started 7 weeks. If it's with my airline, they started 7 weeks this year. How was that? Let me know in the comment section below. But congratulations. That's a really big deal. Good luck with graduation tomorrow. And did everybody make it from your class though? Because I know my class, we lost a few people. Did everybody make it from your class? But congratulations once again, Nat. It's a big deal. And you got New York. I so wanted New York, y'all. Like, my heart wanted New York, but my mind had to go with Seattle. My heart wanted New York, but my mind, logically, I had to go with Seattle because I lived here. But it's still not too late for me because I knew eventually I was going to move over to the East Coast anyway. So I was eventually going to end up being based in New York. But I really, really wanted New York. But And I could have had New York, but it's just that I had to be realistic. And that ties me back to your base selection or you choosing the base. And as much as you might want a certain base because of the benefits that comes with it, you also have to be realistic to see the state you're in and what will be helpful for you, because you can't just choose a base because you know the flying is going to be better there and then you have to commute. Then you might not have a place to stay there. Rent, then cost of living might be too high. You might not be able to sustain your lifestyle. You might be away from family, which is going to add on additional stress to you. So keep those things in mind when you're choosing your base. But I'm super glad you're in New York. Maybe eventually when I get to New York, we might see each other, because I've been seeing a lot of you when I'm working. Like for the last month, I saw a lot of subscribers while I was working, probably because I was working too much. I was working 2 trips every week, 2 2-day trips every week. So I did meet up with a lot of you. I know we took the photos. The photos are still there. I just haven't, posted them or whatever. But I do love it when I see you all. And if you do see me, don't hesitate to say hello. I'm not one of those that are no. I'm here for you. Okay, let's connect. Let's vibe. Let's live in the moment. Okay, I'm here for you all. The other thing is, next comment is Dark Earth. Hi everyone. I'm enjoying listening. What would they consider a base request? Would they consider a base request? A base request, because the thing is that when you're going through the base selection process, you are given the opportunity. For us, we're given the opportunity to select our top 3. So the first one would be the one you really want. The second one would be the one that you would want if you don't get your first choice. And then your third choice would be the one that you want if you don't get your first and second choice. So keep that in mind, that you can't not select the same base for all 3 choices. Like if let's say I really wanted Seattle, I can't say Seattle. No, it doesn't work that way. It makes whatever the other 2 are null and void. So essentially, if you don't get Seattle, you don't get anything. You just get the leftover. No, not that you don't get anything. You just get whatever is left. So you are given the opportunity to select the ones that you want. Our airline has a whole informational session for it where they take you through the process, give you all some information about the bases that are available, that are open, and then based on that, you make your choice. And honestly, the only time having 3 choices applies is if there are multiple bases open. If you start and only one base is open, that's what everybody's getting. So in that case, you can't put in a request because only one base is open and it's taking in new flight attendants. However, once you get on the line, you can every month put in a base transfer request. However, I believe when you get assigned a base, you are required to stay there for at least 3 months before you can request for a change or a move out or whatever. However, I would say you never know. If they really need people in New York and you are only, let's say, a month in or 2 months in and you want to move there and they can afford to move you there, they might probably consider, or you can actually get it escalated for that to happen, especially if they really need people there too, But it depends on how many bases are available based on your question, Dark Earth. And if only one base is available, then that's the base you're getting. However, once you get on the line, you can ask for a transfer to another base. One thing to note is that they did say that once you get on the line for a new flight attendant, you have to consider being at that base for at least 6 months before you might potentially get a request to go elsewhere. They do tell us to set our expectation like that. Not necessarily because you might have to stay there for 6 months, but just so that you know that potentially if you don't get a change that month that you're on the line, you're not disappointed or feel slighted in any way. So yes, it depends on how many bases are available. My time, I think 6 bases were available. It was Seattle, New York, Boston, Salt Lake City, Detroit, and somewhere MSP, Minnesota. So there were 6 bases open for me, but as they fill up, the total number of bases that are open starts to reduce as well. So it got to a point where some people was just one base that was available, and that was what everybody got. So you all go there. So yeah. Oh, let my hair get in my eye. Okay, so Nat says 7 long weeks. Oh my God, I thought 6 weeks was long, but I don't know if I could do 7. I agree. It is very, very, very long, y'all. That training is a lot, and you're stuck in a hotel during that period, y'all. You're not able to cook home cooked meals. You're eating out for the most part. It is a lot, but Nat, one thing I will say is that if you've never been a flight attendant before, and this is your first time going through flight attendant training, as bad as it seemed, actually will set you up for when you start the job. Because especially being in that hotel room for that long. When you start flying, you're going to be in hotel rooms, and depending on what base you're assigned, you might end up working a lot of 3-day trips. So you're going to be in hotel rooms a lot. And training, putting you in that hotel room for a long period of time is actually getting you ready for the job. It would make it easy for you to transition when you start working, even if you have to like you do the crash pad thing or whatever. So it's definitely long and stressful, but it's worth the experience. It's not part of your journey and your story. So think about it that way. Once again, Nat says, thank you. You're amazing. 3 people didn't make it. Oh my God, 3 people. I think for me, 4 people didn't make it. Well, it total was 5, but one of them actually chose not to continue with the process. So it was their choice. And they were actually really, really good. And honestly, I feel like they would have been a really good flight attendant if they decided to go through it. But that's the thing. So if you are in training right now and you feel it's too much and you feel you don't want to do this, you can opt out and not continue, y'all. But my advice would be try as much as possible to finish the process, because you might change your mind once you're done. There are people that got on the line, things got super stressful, super hectic, that they really wanted to quit, but decided to continue, and now they're enjoying the job. So if it feels like you want to throw in the towel, it feels like you want to give in and just opt out and stop and not do this again, just wait it out a bit. Give yourself like another 2 weeks. Give yourself like another week. Give yourself like another day and see how you feel about it. Because you might think you don't want it, but then after you give yourself that week or 2 and thinking it through, or been chatting about it with family members or people whose opinion matter to you, you might actually change your mind. Because sometimes it's just the circumstance that you're in within that moment that's making it difficult. And it might not be the case after you get past that situation. So it's hard to see people go, but yeah, we have 4 people go, and it was hard, and it was very, very emotional for some of us, because some people literally left like the week of graduation. Yeah, like the week of graduation. Some people were leaving the day before graduation, y'all. Like it's serious, a serious business out there. So it's sad that 3 people left. For me, it was 5 people. 1, like I said, by choice, but other 4, it was one way academic related. So it is sad, but that's unfortunate. But congratulations that you're graduating tomorrow. Get your beauty rest so that you can be all ready for graduation, y'all. Have fun too. Take photos, lots and lots of photos, y'all. Dark Earth says congratulations to Nat. Yes, congratulations, Nat. Ruth says, hi, I'm a sophomore in high school and I'm really interested in being a flight attendant. So I wanted to know the ups and downs of the job. So yes, Ruth, on my channel, I actually have like 2 videos where I talk about the pros and cons of being a flight attendant. But becoming a flight attendant is tricky in the sense that it depends on which part of the world you're in and where you're trying to become a flight attendant at, because every airline is different. There are some international airlines that will literally pick you up from wherever it is that you are in the world, give you the work visa and the documentation and everything you need to work in the country where they want you to be based at. And then they pay for your accommodation and everything, like Qatar, Emirates, and the rest. And then they would fund your training and your accommodation, you staying at base and everything. And then you get on the line, you graduate, you get on the line, and it goes on from there. Whereas with my airline, you need the documentation to be able to work in the United States, because it is a United States-based airline, but you're not required to live in the United States. So there are people that live in Europe that are all flight attendants with my airline that commute from Europe to the US to their base to work. And then there are people that live in Africa that do the same thing too as well. But with some other airlines, you do have to live at base. But the upside of that is that they do pay for your accommodations too. So it kind of works out, because if you require me to live at base, then you pay for where I stay, then it's kind of good, because then you're not paying rent out of pocket, y'all. It's a good deal. Plus, if your income is tax-free, win-win. So I say it's tricky because it depends on which airline company you're trying to apply to. With my airline, you have to be 21 years or older before you can apply. But with other airlines, it's different. So in my video where I talk about the pros and cons of being a flight attendant or how to become a flight attendant, I do have a full playlist in the description box. Check it out. But I also talk about the kind of airline you want to work with. You have to consider that. Check the job description. What are the requirements? What do they need from you? What is the age requirement? So you need to take note of that as well. But in general, I like the job, but everybody decides to become a flight attendant for different reasons. Personally, the honest truth for me, it was a flexibility of the schedule and the travel benefits. I'm from Ghana, West Africa. So I wanted an airline company that serviced my home country, knowing that I can go to JFK and just fly home to Ghana whenever I want to because of the job that I do is amazing. So I enjoy that aspect of it. And then also the flexibility that comes with it. I can choose to work more or less if I want to, but this might not be the case for every airline. So that's why you need to figure out which airlines you potentially want to work for. And then there's so many content creators on YouTube that talk about their experiences with their respective airlines that they work for. Personally, I'm not here to speak for my airline because I'm not representing my airline in any way, but I can only share my experience and how beneficial it's been for me. And I had two opportunities to become a flight attendant. It's a third one that I actually did. So when I was younger, while I was in college, I wanted to, or I considered it, never did it because I had to live at base. I was with Emirates and I had to live at base. So I never moved forward with it because after I went through some of the process, I noticed that I had to live at base. Then the second time was when I moved to the United States. While I was in Washington State, I met somebody who worked with Alaska Airlines and they were taking me through the process and everything for that. I never did it also because potentially I was going to be based somewhere else that I did not want to live at. And then the third opportunity came last year, which I decided to actually move full forward and do it. And I'm actually glad that I did it when I did it, because if I had done it earlier, I probably would have been hopping from airline to airlines, and I probably would not have enjoyed it as much as I am now because I prepared for it. This time around, I was ready. I had saved money before going for training. I didn't have to worry about my bills being paid because they were covered. So it's one of those things where you have to make sure you're doing or making the move at the right time for you. If not, it might be a bitter moment or experience. But if you do it at the right time for you, it's great. It's been great, y'all. Like, I enjoy it. And I've said it before. Sometimes when I start a job, 2 months in, I'm ready to quit or find something else. But this job has not been the case. So it's been really good. It's been really, really good for me. So definitely do your research for sure. And I have a full playlist in the description box to help you out, Ruth. So do check that out. Gina Lemonade says, congratulations on completing your 1 year. I started watching to help my daughter who is now at Daddy D. Oh, I love your content, so information. Thank you so much, Gina. I'm so glad she is working with them now. I hope I get to work with her. I hope I get to work with her or see her on the line. What base is she at though? But yeah, I'm glad you enjoy the content. Honestly, I started creating content about my journey because when I started doing my research, and as much as I found content on it, it was like all over the place. And once I started my journey, I understood why. And that became my mission, that I will make sure that I curate my content such that it's very direct, it's very informational. It gives you like the real tea so that it gives you an idea of what to expect. So that's where that came out of. And as much as I wanted to travel and experience the world or whatever, but I also wanted this channel to be a one-stop shop for everybody. If you're trying to become a flight attendant, if you're trying to live vicariously through me, you can have it all, okay? But I'm glad she's with Daddy D now. That's so good. Like, the number of people that applied to our airline and the few that get through is such a big deal. So you should be very, very proud of her, because training is the beast, y'all. Training is not easy. It is stressful. The content is not hard. It's just that it's too much going on. Moving on, Ricky G 1985 says, it's been 16 years since I hung up my wings, but I continue to live the life watching your videos. Thank you so much. Oh my God, 16 years. How many years did you fly? Were you on the line for? Wow, it's been a long time. Did you enjoy it though, Ricky? Let me know if you enjoyed it. How was your experience? But 16 years is a long time. And how long were you on the line for? I'm really curious. Ricky again says, curious, would you ever like to leave Seattle, or is that where it's at for you? So I like being based in Seattle. Honestly, I feel like as a new flight attendant, if you get the opportunity to be based in Seattle, or if you live in Seattle, my advice will be to take it. The flying is a little bit more restricted in terms of the international destinations that you can go to. That's been the downside for me, is the fact that we don't do a lot of international flying out of Seattle in terms of the destinations we go to compared to JFK, where JFK touches everywhere: South America, Hawaii, Europe, Africa, or even Atlanta, touches everywhere. So with regards to the diversity of the flying in those bases compared to Seattle, those bases are pretty good choices, right? However, living here, I'm glad I had Seattle. Our airport is very easy to navigate as a new flight attendant. The flying is pretty good in terms of the hours. So we have very high credit trips that even super junior people can hold. So it makes it possible for you to earn a good amount of income without necessarily over flying or overworking yourself, right? So when I first started, my first month was when I worked 3 day trips that were worth like 16 or 15 or 17 hours. But even with those 3 day trips, I was not working like a lot of flights in a day. I would be doing like maybe 1 or 2 flights per day, and that was it. So it was still good in the sense that the credit was low, but the trip built or the rotation structure was such that I wasn't overflying, because when you're new, you're trying to adjust to flying. So I particularly love Seattle for the fact that it allowed me to make a good amount of money without overworking myself as a new flight attendant, giving me adequate time to adapt and adjust to flying. However, wanting to leave Seattle, I honestly never wanted to be Seattle based. I personally wanted to be New York based, but because I lived in Seattle, I chose Seattle. But I have no regrets because it's been amazing. In terms of whether I consider leaving, I do consider leaving. If I did not have to move to the East Coast for any reason at all, I would have remained in Seattle. I probably would not change bases because it's good. The credits are good. And I would rather work high credit trips, make my money, and then non-rev to the places where I do want to visit and travel to. Non-rev, and mind you, if you're not a flight attendant, is when I fly using my flight benefits, where I only pay taxes and fees internationally, and domestic is free, and then go to wherever it is that I want to go to, y'all. So for now, because I know or I do have to move to the East Coast, I'm going to switch bases. But assuming I did not have to move to anywhere and I was just going to be living in Seattle for the rest of my life, then I would have been based in Seattle. I won't consider moving anywhere else. I like it here. The airport is easy to navigate. I live at a good distance away from the airport. The flights are okay. Our passengers in and out of Seattle are not crazy. And trust me, that's a big deal, y'all. That's a big deal. All they want is coffee and you're good to go. But our rotation structures are also really good as well. How our trips are built are pretty good for Seattle as well, because I can work a 20-hour credit 3 day trip, and it would probably have maybe 2 flights the first day, 2 flights the second day, 1 flight the last day. And you go somewhere to Atlanta or maybe New York, and then you have like even getting a 20-hour credit 3 days is a big deal. And if you do get it, it's like 3 legs the first day, 3 flights the first day, 4 flights the second day, 2 flights the last day. That's too much work. Okay. We do have trips like that in Seattle, but it's not the norm. Like when you see trips like that have like multiple flights, like 3 or more flights a day, every single day, that's out of the norm for us. It's not the norm, but we do have them. But elsewhere it is. So it's been pretty good. I personally enjoy Seattle, and I do have to move, but or I will move eventually, but I enjoy the base here. Ruth says, it's nice to know you are able to cover your expenses because I also you live in Seattle area, okay? And I'm worried I won't be able to cover mine when the time comes. So I will say that if you are living with your parents, continue to live with your parents, because that's a good way to save money. And then also, before you do decide to apply to become a flight attendant, make sure you have a good savings. And I did talk about this in depth when I did my last live before this, where I talked about making sure you have money saved before you go for training. That is the only way, y'all, that you can actually set yourself up for success when it comes to financially. Because when you start flying, you don't know. I mean, not all of us, because some people have never been on aircrafts until they became flight attendants, but we've all flown before. If you've flown before, you've been on a plane. But when you become a flight attendant, you're flying more in a day than you probably have ever flown in a year. So It's a lot on your body and it takes time for you to get used to it. So you don't want to set yourself up in a situation whereby because you need money, you're forced to fly a lot more to sustain yourself because you're not earning a lot from the beginning. And I will say, and I've done a video on this, that at least with my airline, our pay right now is such that it's not the best way you can live your best life or whatever, but it's enough to sustain you if you spend within your means. Okay. So if you know you can't afford to be going on layovers and buying food out and eating out every single day, you should meal prep because that can help you save money as well. But the mistake people make is that they so much want to live the flight attendant life that they want to live the life of going out and eating out and doing touristy stuff and spending money on their layovers and stuff like that. And they end up putting themselves in a bind where they can't sustain their life, they can't pay their bills, and then they're in debt. So you also have to remember to spend within your means as well. The life is good. Like when I started, or even till today, I don't eat out. Like I can work a whole 3-day trip and not buy anything outside because I pack my food and my meals with me. That's the way I've been able to control my expenses because the airport foods are expensive. And when you go to a certain layover and you're eating out, it's costly. It still won't cost you as much as it would if you brought your own food. So I have been working several trips where I never spent even a cent when I go out because I meal prep and I bring my own snacks and drinks and everything with me. So if you know you really care about your finances, you have to spend your money accordingly and watch whatever you're spending your money on. Don't get caught up in the lifestyle. You going out on your layover is not an obligation. You can stay in your hotel room and eat whatever food you brought with you. So it's about how you manage your expenses. But the reason why I talk about saving beforehand is because when you're in training, and for the first, at least for the first 2 months when you get out of training, so in this case, 4 months, 2 months for training, 2 months when you're on the line, you won't be earning a good amount of money to keep you going, especially if you have to commute. Even if you live at base, it's the same thing. So that's why I suggest that you have enough saved to cover your rent, your bill, your pet bill, whatever money you need to, whatever bills or expenses you have money saved to cover at least 4 months. Because it would take time for you to adapt, understand your schedule, know how to pick up more trips, know how to bid to get the best out of your schedule. So that's why I say that. But it's not scary. So don't let that scare you. However, because I know how Seattle can be very expensive, but I will say save now. And then even if you do get out of high school or you're in college or whatever, wherever it is that you are, make sure you have a good amount of money saved to cover your expenses, at least for that period as well. 4 months at least, including training period, and then 2 months after getting on the line. But yeah, you need that money because if you're starting off with a negative, you're going to be stressed out. And if you don't have a good support system like family to support you financially, that would make it hard as well. Ricky G 1985 says, I was flying for only 5 years, but I love flying. However, I got an opportunity to be an air traffic controller. Ooh, and the stability was what I chose. Okay, that's amazing. Okay, that's good. I'm glad you did it though. That's what I'm saying. Like I feel like depending on what part of your life you're in and where you are in life, this might be a long-term thing for you, and this might be a short-term process for you. For me, my long-term goal while I was in college was to become like a manager, manage a team, and do all that corporate lifestyle and everything. But once I got to that point, I didn't enjoy it. Like I was like, okay, I have all this, I'm making all this good money. Like what next? It wasn't fulfilling. And I noticed that what I actually wanted was peace of mind, flexibility, to be able to work whenever I want and create content like I'm doing now. And that lifestyle did not afford me that. So when I considered working in the airline industry, flight attendant was not even the first point in terms of where I was last year. But I was like, I get to fly, I get the flexibility of the schedule. I'm not required to work a full time of 160 hours, or if your salary sometimes almost 200 hours a month. So why not consider that? So that's why I decided to do that switch. But I'm glad you are able to do something that gives you the stability that you want right now, which is great because you've been off the line. You stopped flying like 16 years ago. 16 years ago, things were different. Things were harder. Like it was more unstable becoming a flight attendant or living the flight attendant lifestyle like it is now. Like right now, even being junior, I can swap out of my trips easily. I'm not on call the entire month. I'm only on call for 6 days. And being 1 year in at my base, the requirement or the required need for people to be on reserve has reduced. So right now, being 1 year in, I'm no longer on reserve, you know? So it's one of those things. And I'll talk more about that in my schedule reaction video, which is going to be out in the next couple of days. But 16 years ago, it was harder. It was more unstable. But now it's at the point where, fine, you're traveling back and forth, but you can make whatever you want to make out of it. Like for me, I want to get to the point where I only have to work maybe one turn a week and that's it. And I'm doing something else the rest of the 6 days out of the week. Or last month or this month, actually, I've been working 2 2-day trips and then that's it for the week. So I'm not going back and forth and I'm not all over the place. Now the industry is such that, at least with my airline, that we're well staffed enough where you can have some sort of control over how much you work and how you work. But then again, it all comes back to the money. How are you paying your bills? Is you working less able to sustain your life? And that's what you have to consider as well. But I'm definitely happy that you're doing something you enjoy now and you have the stability that you do need. So that's great for you. Thanks for sharing. Shariat Man Gaming says, "Hey, what's up? How are you liking your airline these days?" It's been great. It has been great, y'all. It's 1 year. I'm 1 year in now. It's been a year. I know you were part of the people that were here from the beginning. I remember. It's been a year now, and I love it. I love it even more. Like, as you all know, when I'm ready to leave, I'm ready to leave. But with this job, it's been great. The airline, it's great. Nothing is perfect, but I feel like everything else, you have to find what benefits you're getting out of a situation and just ride on that. And for me, once again, flexibility is top notch. Like I love that. I can choose to fly more, fly less. Like right now, I took 6 days off because I didn't feel I was in a funk and I didn't feel like working, and I was able to do that. So it's been great. It's been great. Yes, congratulations to Nat once again for graduating tomorrow. Like, have fun. That's a big deal. Sharia says, "I can't wait to do the same thing as well, Nat." Oh, Cherry, are you in training now? Did you ever apply? Are you in training? Let me know in the comment section below. And traveling Aval says, "I have training coming up this fall for Daddy D. Congratulations." Sorry, y'all. I'm hungry. Congratulations. Oh my God. All the best at training. You're going to do great. Cheryl says, "I'm making being a flight attendant a long time for me. This will be my career for sure." Yeah, it's going to be my career too. Like I'm here for life, you know? Yeah, I'm here for life. I'm good. I'm locked in. But I had other goals before. Yes, that was the same thing for me too. For me, honestly, it's been a big change, and it's one of those things where you have to make sure you do it at the right time to be able to do it long term. But there are people also that just want to do it for the experience of it, which is also fine. I have another comment here saying, "What is your favorite aircraft to work on?" Unpopular opinion, y'all. My favorite aircraft is an unpopular opinion, but let me put it this way. I like the Airbus 321neo. I love it. I love it because the bin space is amazing and the design of the aircraft is cute. I love it. There's enough restrooms to go around. The seats look better. It's new. The ambience of the aircraft is great. Arming, disarming the door is amazing. The door is not complicated. It's all good. I mean, none of them are complicated, but personally, the galley has mine is an unpopular opinion. Personally, I like the Boeing 737, y'all. I like the Boeing 737. I like it because what you see is what you get. I don't like the girth bar. That going down on your knee and dealing with that girth bar is too much involved. However, my favorite aircraft to work on is the Boeing 737. I know, unpopular opinion. People are going to come for me on that. No, but Please let me have my moment, okay? My reason is because the bin space, it's not big, it's not spacious or whatever, but what you see is what you get. Your bag or your luggage can only go in one way. Like you can't flip, you can't turn, you can't twist. Your bag or your luggage can only go in one way because the Airbus 321 Neo has a lot of bin space. The bin space is huge, it's spacious, but sometimes people don't follow instructions, right? And when you give people too many options, when your bag or your luggage can go in that bin in multiple ways, people tend to do weird stuff. Like I have seen somebody turn their luggage in a very weird position just to take up a whole bin with one bag, y'all. And the bag was not even that big. So I feel like when you give people options, especially on an aircraft that they're not familiar with, in an environment where they're not familiar with, there's too much confusion going on. So I like the 737 because the bin space is simple. Your bag can only go in one way. There's no two ways about it, y'all. And I know the bin space is not enough. So I'm already on my system telling the gate agent, hey, the bin is getting full. Checking that. Like it works for me. I like the simplicity of it. The galley also, the galley is actually where we work out of, where we keep our stuff, our supplies, food, and all that stuff. I like the galley of the 737 also, not the front part of it, the forward part of the galley, because that's very small and it's a very tight space. But the back, if you're galley in the back for the main cabin, I like it too because it's very simple. Like what you see is what you get. When you open a cabinet or a bin, what you see is what you get. There's nothing hidden behind. You're not forced to open 1,001 bins just to find one thing. Like the parts, what you see is what you get. So I like the simplicity of the Boeing 737. That's a reason why it's my favorite aircraft. But I hate that girth bar. My first injury at work was from that girth bar. But I like the 737. They're old. I know they're old, but I like the 737. And I know there are going to be some flight attendants out there coming for me, but I like the 737. It's very simple. It's very simple. What you see is what you get. It's old, it's janky, and it's the simplicity of it for me. I don't like to make life difficult, okay? I can work in stressful environments or I can deal with stress, but I choose not to be stressed, okay? So I like the 7-3. It's simple. It's simple. Chariot says, trust me, I'm waiting for them to open up. And as soon as they do, I'm reapplying again and I'll get it. Yes, you will. Definitely keep an eye out. I know people that tried for 10 years, y'all. They were applying every single year for 10 years. Some were doing it every single year for 5 years. So it's, and I always tell people, if you don't get it this time, it doesn't necessarily mean that, fine, it can mean something else. But I feel like sometimes it's just not your moment. It's just not your time. It's just not your time, you know? And this job, with the way it is, if you don't do it at the right time, it can be very bad for you. Nope, training. But I hope I can do it at this point. I got another flight attendant that is rooting for me. Yes, definitely. We are here to support. They work for your airline as well. Oh, really? That's good. And apply to my airline too. Join the best airline right out the gate. Don't go anywhere else. I'm biased, y'all. Every airline is good, and every airline has their own benefit for everybody, y'all. But I know I chose my airlines for a specific reason. Traveling About says, I also have a friend graduating tomorrow. I know there's graduation tomorrow, and I'm not sure, but I think that's the last class for the year, though. Yeah, for my airline at least. I think that's the last class for the year. But yeah, congratulations to all the possible or potential graduates for tomorrow. Show out, show out, show out. Go and show out, y'all. Enjoy the moment because it is an experience. Calvin Warner says, "Hey, love, I love your positive vibe. What's your favorite domestic or international trip?" So domestic trip. So for me, domestic trip, I love New York. I love going to New York because where our layover is literally in the heart of Times Square. So I love being able to explore. I'm a New York girl at heart. Like I love the vibe and the fast-paced nature of New York, although I don't want to live there. So I've always loved New York. Like I went there like 2019, no, not 2019, 2018 or something, or 2019, October, before COVID or whatever happened. But I went there in October and it was great. Like I love the vibe of New York. I love the energy. So my domestic my favorite domestic layover will be it will be New York. I enjoy New York a lot. I like New York, even though I don't fly it a lot or lay over there a lot, because sometimes I fly through it, but I don't lay over there. I enjoy New York. Not so much the airport, but the city itself I enjoyed. And then international, I haven't really done international much because I love Hawaii as well. Oh my God, Hawaii feels like for domestic, even though it's whatever, but I love Hawaii. I love Hawaii. I've done three, no, I've done two of the cities in Hawaii, Lahui, and then I've done Kona. And I enjoyed Lahui was great. I love it because everything is right where you want to be. I love Hawaii. Whenever I go to Hawaii, it feels like I'm back in Ghana. I think because of the weather and the nature, the cultural experience and everything, it makes me feel like I'm back home in Ghana. So I love Hawaii as well. And then international, like I said, I haven't done a lot of international because with my base, international destinations go to the most senior people. And the people that work, they don't call out as much. So they show up to work. So I don't even get it on 8 days. I think I got it on reserve just one time, and it was just Amsterdam. And then I've done Amsterdam 3 times, and that's it. I haven't done London or Paris yet because those are the other places that we do fly out of Seattle. We do Asia as well. I haven't done any of those. And I do plan, like honestly plan on non-revving over to those places, but I'm someone that's very big on saving. And because I went through my savings while I was in training, I actually want to build it up again so that because I cannot live without knowing that I have money to cover me if anything happens, y'all. I can't live that life. It's too risky. It's too risky. So I do want to non-rev more. And our layovers are not super long. It's like 24 hours, 25 hours. So for me right now, it's not long enough for me to want to work that long trip only to get there. I feel like I'm going to be super tired and exhausted and I might not really enjoy it. So my goal is to just non-rev to those cities. But I liked Amsterdam. It was okay. But like I said, I haven't done any other international trips, so I can't really say. For now, I would say my favorite international trip would be going back to Accra, Ghana, because that's where I'm from. So it would be nice to be able to work a flight back home. And the layover to Accra is usually like 32 hours or sometimes 36, depending on when and how it's happening. So that would be my favorite international. But I haven't really done a lot of I haven't done a lot. Like I've only done one, aside from Ghana, which I went on my own time, and then Amsterdam, which I worked 3 flights to. So that's where I am. And that's the downside of being based in Seattle. We don't have a lot of international flying and they go very senior. So if you're a junior person, you literally have to do so much just to get it. You have to be able to pick, like, it's just too much involved and too much politics involved. And I dealt with politics when I was in corporate America. And I'm at the point where I don't really care. I don't care much. Like, I don't care about certain things because in my mind, my sweet spot would be when I get to the point in life where I can afford to fly to these places and not have to rely on having to work a trip there just to get the hotel room so I can explore the city, you know? So that's it for me. The main benefit of this job for me, flight benefits, yes, but it was more so for the flexibility of it, so I can travel on my own time. Because when you're flying on your benefits, it's not as simple as people make it seem. Like it's a whole beast and a whole process on its own. And sometimes it's too much exhaustion involved. It's too much involved. So I would rather get to the point where I have enough purchasing power to buy my own ticket, fly on any airline that I want, and just have my flight benefits as a backup. Okay, just in case we need to throw it in, we throw it in. But that's the point where I want to get to. I want to get to financial status or freedom level where I can actually fly on my own time and just live life, you know, and not necessarily have to rely on flying for free, as they say, but not necessarily for free. But next comment is, that's where I'm going, your airline. Okay, good. Okay, good. Okay, definitely come on board. Baja Boy says, thanks for your response. How about the long haul aircraft, A330, A350, and a 767? I don't like a 767. I don't like that door. I do not like the 767. It's too much anxiety. Where the arming lever is and where the door handle is too close for comfort. Okay. Next thing you know, we're busting slides open and everything. No, we're not. I don't like the 767. I'm all jokes aside with the door. I don't like the door, but the bin space. It's too much involved when it comes to the bin space. It's like it's too much. Like I see when we're boarding aircrafts with passengers, right? When people are coming on that plane, they're in an unfamiliar environment, right? They're probably shy, they're probably intimidated, they're probably scared to fly. There's so much going on that I feel that where they put their luggage should not be complicated. Like where they stowed their stuff should not involve too much going on, you know? And I don't like the 767 because the bin space is not proportional. It's not the same. So one part of the aircraft, the bin space can take certain sizes of luggage. On the other side, it can't. So it's like too much. And I feel like when some people are flying, make everything as simple as possible. Being a flight attendant, I know the aircraft, so I know where to put my bigger bags and I know where to put my smaller bags. Okay, but the person who's coming on that plane doesn't know that, and you see people struggling and they're frustrated and it's just too much. And yes, there are flight attendants in the aisle monitoring overhead bin space, but it's just one person or possibly two people. I can't help every single person, so I feel like it's too complex. And I don't like that aircraft because boarding it is complicated. People are struggling to find a spot for their bag, and you're helping this person and this bag and this. It's just too much involved. So I don't like it for that reason. I've been on a 330 because when I did Amsterdam, it was on a 330. It was okay. I just don't like where the galley is. There are two galleys, the main one for the main cabin, and then there's another one in the middle to service Delta One. Delta One up front. I don't like it because I feel like we're boarding at that door. So you have like passengers walking in between the galley while the galley person is trying to count their meals and make sure the food are available so that when we take off, we know we're good. So it's just too much going on. I have not been on a 7350, but I feel like not a 7350, I mean, a A350, Airbus 350. The Airbus 350 would be my favorite in this case. I love the Airbus 350. Even though I haven't been on it, based on the specs that I've seen, that would be my favorite. I like that. I would prefer that. Would you consider becoming a pilot? No. See, no. No, see, this career is like my retirement in a way, in the sense that when I was in corporate America, I dealt with the politics, I dealt with being in charge, being a leader, leading a team, doing all that good stuff. I've gone through that phase of my life where I'm at the point where I just want to be in the background. Like I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I just want to show up and do my part, work as little as I possibly can, and just keep it pushing. So fine. When you're the pilots are typically, or like the captain or whatever, they are like the leader of the crew in a sense. Like when we're all collectively there, like the captain has a final say. If he's not there, is the FO, the first officer or whatever, then it comes to the fight. Like there's a hierarchy when it comes to that. Even though nobody's anybody's boss, there's still some level of hierarchy when it comes to all that. And also being a pilot, no, that's too much pressure. No, it's too much. I want to be invisible. Like at this point, I don't want to be seen. I don't want to be heard. I know it's contradictory to me being on screen and doing all this, but I'm just at the point where I just want to exist, and I want to focus more on doing things in my life. And also, I don't like their rotation how it's built. They have like very long days or long trip or rotations, like 5 days of work or 4 days of being away from home. Whereas for us, we have 1 day, we have 2 days, and we have 3 days. We do have some 4 days if you're doing like charter flights and stuff like that, or sometimes depending on the season we're in, we might have like 5 day or 4 day Paris or London or Europe and stuff like that. But I don't like how the rotation and stuff are built and stuff like that. So that's a no for me. Plus, like I said, I just want to be bare minimum and just exist and just live life. So I'm good. But no, I've never considered becoming a pilot. But there are flight attendants that are in the process of becoming pilots too. So I think depending on where you are in life and you start to do this job, you would know what you want to do with your life. Like even applying or growing in the company, being able to do other stuff, I'm not even interested in that. Or at least the point where I am right now, I'm not interested in that. I just want to be a flight attendant, just be a flight attendant. I don't even want any other responsibilities or roles or whatever, because anything else that I want to do with my time beyond working, I want it to be on something that I want to do for myself outside of my job. So that's where I am with that. But next thing, last one. I'm about to jump out, y'all. I'm 1 hour, 14 minutes in. Sorry, I just got a call. Give me 1 second, y'all. Hello? I'm alive. No, I'm alive right now. Oh my God. It's not easy. The life of a content creator. Sure about that, y'all. So bring in your final comments, y'all, because I'm about to wrap up and be out of here. Thank you all for spending the time with me. I know it's impromptu, but thank you all for showing out. Calvin says, if you're allowed to speak on it, what do you think about the new uniform? See, see, the whole, okay, me as an individual, right? As an individual, I'm a very open-minded person, right? And I like to give things the benefit of the doubt. And I'm that person that wants to try something. Okay, it's gonna be A. Okay, let's try A out. Let's try B out. And then let's see how it looks. Like let's actually experience it, and then we can give realistic feedback on it, right? But there are other people that are not like that, you know? Like for me, I'm more open-minded. Of course, I want to look professional and look good when I come to work or whatever, but I'm also open to trying new stuff as well, because there's one uniform that we currently have. And when I first started, because of the issues that people have had with it in the past, everybody was against it. It was talked down on. Nobody wanted it. Everybody was talking against it, but it happened to be my favorite uniform, even though I don't wear it a lot, which is the purple one that you all saw. Like I did like a short reel or a video on it. And because of issues that people have had in the past, but it's actually become my favorite uniform. The only reason why you people don't see me wearing it a lot is because it's a dress. And when I go to work, I prefer to wear pants because I get more coverage. It's warmer when I wear pants, because when you're up in that air 40,000 feet high, it is cold. It gets cold. Okay. So I like wearing my pants because I have more coverage. And I like wearing the pantsuit because I have more layers of clothing. I have the pants, I have on a shirt, I have on an inner top, then I have on my vest. So I'm more layered, so it keeps me warm. So going back to the topic, that dress, even though people have so many issues with it, happens to be my favorite uniform. I have never had any issue with it ever since I've worn it, and it's been okay. So that's the reason why when it comes to this new uniform thing, I'm a bit more skeptical and not necessarily right out the gate trying to say no, 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 because it's like the one that people didn't like, I ended up liking. And everybody's preference is different, you know? But one thing I will say is, the photos that are out there more of the new uniform, it's the portion that most people did not like. And even me personally, I didn't really like the outlook of it when I saw it the first time. I was like, okay. Okay. If that's what's going to be, I guess we do have the opportunity to give feedback. So I'm definitely going to put it in my feedback. However, when I saw the actual full line, because it's a full line where there are monograms of the other pieces of the uniform, it wasn't as bad. I noticed that the ones that were not liked were like 2 or 3 out of the lot. And there were other multiple stuff that looked pretty good. But then again, everybody's body type is different. For me, when I look at the full line out that they have, like the lineup that they have of our uniform, I can see at least 5 pieces that would look good in me. Like, I mean, full pieces, like the dress or a pantsuit or a skirt suit, that would look good on me that I wouldn't mind wearing. So it's one of those things where, am I, as an individual, going to focus on the 1 or 2 that I hate so much? Or am I going to focus on the other 5 that I can potentially wear and look good in? And like everything else, sometimes you have to get a feel of the fabric. You have to touch it. It might look a certain way, but the quality might feel different. Or when you wear it on you, on your skin tone, on your body, it might look different. But I feel like we're in a world right now where people complain about everything because life is difficult now and people are under a lot of stress. So the slightest thing that doesn't go the way that they want or appear the way that they want turns them off. Like it's a no, like blah 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 blah. So it's one of those things where we also have to be mindful and accommodating, understanding of people's feelings when it comes to those things. But I say all this to say that I'm not totally against it, in the sense that I'm not like crazy mad and like against it or whatever. But it's hi. Let me come on camera back for this. But when it comes to applying to become a flight attendant, you know that what you're going to be doing is customer service related. You're going to be interacting with individuals. You're going to be tasked with situations where you're dealing with difficult passengers or difficult customers or difficult situations in general. So when you're creating your resume, highlight moments like that, where you're in a position where you had to do conflict resolution. Highlight that in your resume. Did you do interactions, even like interactions with individuals? Like what tasks did you do? What things did you do that were resort oriented that you were able to achieve? And with regards to your application, when you submit your resume and you apply and all that, you go through a series of process. I think there's an online assessment before you do a one-on-one interview and stuff like that. And there were two online assessments. One was a psychological assessment, and then the other one was an assessment. Oh, can you hear me now? Oh my God. Am I heard now? Oh, let me pause a bit. Let me check the sound. Please let me know if you can hear me now. Let me wait a bit. Let me know if you can hear me now, y'all. Let me know if you can hear me. Okay, thank you. Okay, oh, sorry about that. So what I was saying was that with regards to your resume, you have to sell yourself. Like you really have to sell yourself because, and if you have to embellish thing. It's not a matter of lying. It's just a matter of you selling yourself. It's called marketing. Okay, it's called marketing. Package it well. Okay. Package it very well and highlight your strengths. Highlight the strengths that relates to the job that you're looking for. So if you go through the application, the job posting, right, they would indicate on the job posting like there's certain skills or experience they want you to have or qualities they want you to have as a flight attendant or somebody who's trying to become a flight attendant. Once you figure out what those things are, tailor your resume to meet that. So if I know, because I have done several jobs, y'all. I have worked in the medical field. I've worked in the financial industry, banking industry. I've worked in retail. I've worked in events management and coordination as well. So I've done several, I've worked in several industries. I've worked in the telecommunication industry before. So I've done several jobs and worked in several companies that makes my experience more broad. However, when I was creating my resume for this job, I focused on jobs that I utilize the skills that the company is looking for in me. So I utilize the experiences or the job experiences that talked or illustrated my experience in customer service, my experience in interacting with customers and stuff like that. That was what my focus was. So keep that in mind. And then also, I'm going to test something out real quickly, y'all. Just let me know if you can. Okay, can you? Okay, I'm trying to figure out what the issue is, y'all. I'm trying to figure out what the issue is, but it's still not letting me figure it out. So I'm really trying. I just wanted to figure it out. Yes, but let's just talk about the resume portion. So yes, so make sure that if the qualities you're looking for is somebody who's resort oriented, customer service or whatever, you illustrate that in your resume and make it concise. You don't have to show all the experience you have in the world, but just illustrate the jobs and the experiences that you have that actually sell you with regards to the expectations they have of you, skills and quality wise. So keep that in mind. But standing out, I will say definitely seek help if you don't know how to tailor your resume. Because for me, I just talked about my work experience and just illustrated the tasks and the responsibilities that I did and the results that yielded out of it as well. And then that was what helped me out. I hope that was helpful, and I hope that answers your question as well. But I was just trying to figure out what the issue was with my mic, y'all, and my camera and stuff like that. But thank you all for coming in. I do appreciate you all for the support. Rich Smith says, amazing. I just finished FA training with Daddy D. I graduate tomorrow. Can't wait to see you on the line. Hey, D class. Congratulations. What a good way to end it. Thank you all so much for tuning into my live. If you're just coming in, we've been here for an hour, 30 minutes at this point. I shared my experience of being on the line for 1 year. Not my experience, but just celebrated it. Yay. I am 1 year in, y'all, and it's been a great experience. So if you're doubting becoming a flight attendant, I did it. I went through it and I enjoyed it, and you will do same too. So don't give up. If you didn't get it the first time, try again. But it's been great. And if you're just coming in once again, I just celebrated my 1 year anniversary. And then also I talked about a few questions or comments that people had left on my videos and answered a few comments or questions I had in the comments. So thank you for tuning in. As you make your way out of the live, go ahead and give the live a thumbs up, like the video, share the video, share your thoughts in the comment section below. And if you're watching the playback, I appreciate you. Drop your thoughts in the comment section. If you do have a question also, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you all so much for your time today, and I will see you all in my next video. Bye-bye.